Why does it feel so hard to just say no? To draw a line and protect what's yours? We're taught to keep the peace, to please others, to say yes, and keep everyone happy. But here's the truth: every time you say yes when you mean no, you give away a piece of yourself, and one day there's nothing left. Today that stops. Saying no is about standing on your terms, about taking back control. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand that no isn't just a word. It's power, it's survival, and it just might save your life. Think about the last time someone asked you for a favor you didn't want to do. Maybe it was a friend who needed a hand, a boss asking for extra hours, or even family pressuring you to be somewhere you didn't want to be. And you knew deep down you didn't want to say yes. But you did it anyway, out of guilt, out of obligation, out of habit. Sound familiar? Let me tell you, I've been there. And the day I realized I was living more for others than for myself, that's when I knew something had to change. I had to learn to say no and mean it. Not out of selfishness, but out of respect for my time, my energy, my purpose. And it wasn't easy, but that single word became a turning point. And it's that same principle I'm going to share here today to show you that sometimes the only way to keep yourself intact, to keep your life from slipping away, is to learn the power of a firm, unapologetic no. Today, I want to share 3 powerful principles behind saying no. Not just as a word, but as a way to regain control of your life, unapologetically, and live on your own terms. Each of these principles is a layer of strength guiding you to protect what matters most. Principle 1, no as respect. Respect for yourself, your time, and your energy. We live in a world where saying yes is praised, where bending over backward for others is seen as admirable. But the truth, if you don't respect your own boundaries, no one else will. When you say you know, you're putting value on yourself. You're showing that your time matters, that your energy is not endless, and that your purpose deserves space to grow. People may not like it when you start saying no. They may even try to guilt you or say you're being selfish. But remember this, respecting yourself is never selfish. It's a message to the world that you know your worth. Principle 2, no as freedom. Every no frees you from something that doesn't serve you, doesn't align with you, or simply doesn't make you feel alive. Imagine your life as a path, and every yes is a step taken off that path. Before long, you're walking down roads that lead nowhere you want to go. No keeps you grounded on your own path. It's like shedding weights you didn't even realize you were carrying. It's the freedom to say, you choose where my energy goes, not anyone else. Freedom isn't just a concept. It's something you live and feel with every boundary you set. Principle 3, no as space. Saying no creates space for what truly matters. When you say no to things that don't align with who you are, you're making room for everything that does. It's like clearing a crowded room. You can finally see what's important, what actually deserves your attention. If your time is always filled up with obligations and favors and demands, there's no room left for growth, no time for you to pursue your real goals. No is a gateway to everything meaningful: real relationships, genuine growth, and the pursuit of goals that feel like they're truly yours. Now, I know what you're thinking, but isn't it hard? Won't people get upset? Yes, it's hard, and yes, some people may not like it. But here's the truth: if you're always saying yes just to please others, what you're actually doing is sacrificing yourself bit by bit. And let me ask you, if you're not looking out for yourself, who will? These 3 principles, respect, freedom, and space, are a roadmap to reclaiming your life. And they're not just ideas. They're tools for living with intention, but they only work if you're willing to start using them. Let's put these principles into real life terms. Take the first one, no as respect. Picture someone who's constantly saying yes at work, taking on extra projects, filling in for others, staying late even when they've got no energy left. At first, everyone sees them as the go-to person, always reliable. But soon, that respect starts to fade because they're taken for granted. Their time is no longer valued, it's assumed. When they finally start saying no, it might shake a few people, but slowly, they begin to get their own time and energy back. People start recognizing their boundaries, respecting them as someone who's not just there to please everyone, but values themselves enough to say no. Then there's the second principle, no as freedom. Here's an example. Imagine a friend who's always pulled in by every invitation, every request for help, every weekend plan. They're always the one who shows up, but they're hardly ever the one who gets to say how they spend their time. Then one day they decide to reclaim their weekends. They start saying no to invites that don't really interest them. And suddenly they have time to pursue a passion, to pick up a new skill, or simply to recharge. That's freedom. Freedom to live on your terms instead of everyone else's. Finally, let's talk about as space. Think of someone who fills every spare hour with meetings, favors, and endless obligations. They're so busy doing things for others that there's no time left for their own goals. But when they start saying no, when they carve out that space, everything changes. They begin focusing on their own dreams, building something that matters to them. They stop being a supporting character in everyone else's story and start becoming the main character in their own. And listen, this isn't just talk. This is about taking your life back. Starting now, every time you say no to something that's not right for you, you're saying yes to something bigger, something that deserves your time and attention. People think saying no is easy until they're faced with the choice. It takes guts to look someone in the eye and say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going my way. Just look at Steve Jobs. He came back to Apple in the late 90s and the company was all over the place, drowning in useless products. Jobs said no to all the extra fluff, the products that were stealing focus from what he knew mattered. He cut down their offerings by 70%. That's how much he said no. And that decision, that sharp focus, led Apple to create the iPhone, the very technology we live on today. Jobs' no changed the game, not just for him, but for the world. Or take Rosa Parks Day in 1955. She said no in the most courageous way possible. She was told to give up her bus seat, to stand because of the color of her skin. And she sat there and said, and no, not today. That one no led to a wave of resistance, to the Montgomery bus boycott, and to the civil rights movement that transformed this country. That's the power of standing firm, of saying, I'm not moving for anyone else's comfort anymore. Then there's Oprah Winfrey. Early on, she was asked to fit into a mold, to read the news like every other anchor. Detached, distant, just another face on a screen. And she said no. No, I'm going to be me. She wanted to reach people, to tell stories her way. And because she held her ground, she went on to create one of the most impactful talk shows of all time. Her no to conformity became a yes to authenticity, and millions of lives were changed because of it. And let's not forget Michael Jordan. In 1993, after 3 championships, he said no to the safe route. He stepped away from basketball, his comfort zone, to pursue baseball, a childhood dream, a risk. People said he was crazy, that he was leaving his legacy behind. But he didn't care. And when he came back with a fire that led the Bulls to another 3 championships. Sometimes saying no means rejecting limits, going beyond the expectations placed on you, and coming back stronger. These aren't just stories. They're proof that saying no is power. It's not just about refusal. It's about protecting your purpose, standing your ground, and creating a life that's fully yours. Let me ask you this. What has saying yes really done for you? Take a moment and think about it. How many times have you put yourself aside, said yes when you didn't want to, and told yourself it was the right thing to do? But what if I told you that every one of those yeses, every single one, was a step away from what you actually want, from who you're meant to be? Now ask yourself, who's been in control all this time? The people around you, their expectations, their approval. Every time you've let them push you around, every time you've let their opinions weigh on you, did it bring you any closer to living your life on your own terms? Or did it just keep you locked up, feeling smaller, weaker, more out of touch with what matters? And I get it, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, but it's not that simple. If I say no, what will people think? What will they say? What if I lose my opportunity? What if they don't respect me anymore? But let me tell you something. Respect doesn't come from giving yourself away. It comes from setting boundaries, from showing people that you know your worth, that you're not here to be molded and used by every person who needs something from you. What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it that deep, nagging voice telling you that if you stand up for yourself, you'll end up alone, that people will leave, that you'll lose the support, the acceptance? Or is it the idea of failure, the thought that if you don't say yes to everything, you'll miss your shot, that somehow saying no makes you weak or selfish? But here's the thing, and I want you to hear this: living your life for others' opinions, that's not living at all. That's just existing. It's surviving, scraping by, hoping one day you'll have a chance to do things your way. But that day will never come if you don't start saying no right now. Because this is about reclaiming what's yours. Your life, your decisions, your sense of self. And if you're not the one taking control, then who is? So, what's it going to be? Are you going to keep giving pieces of yourself away, hoping for approval that never really lasts? Or are you going to stand up, stand firm, and say, this is my life, and from here on out, I decide what's worth my time? This isn't just a challenge, this is your wake-up call. Are you ready to take back what's yours? All right, we've talked about why saying no is essential, why it's the foundation of living on your own terms. But now it's time to make this real, to put this into action. Because talk alone won't change anything. Action will. First, here's what I want you to do right now. Grab a pen and write down one thing in your life that you need to start saying no to. Just one. It could be anything, a person, a habit, a demand that you know is weighing you down. Make it specific. This isn't just some someday plan. This is your life we're talking about, and it's time to start taking it seriously. Second, practice it. The next time you're asked for something you know isn't right for you, pause. Take a deep breath and then say it no. Firmly, respectfully, and without apology. Don't over-explain. Don't backtrack. Just state it and stand by it. Because every time you do this, you're building the muscle of self-respect. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Finally, make a promise to yourself tonight. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. Make a commitment that from now on, you're not giving yourself away to anyone or anything that doesn't align with your vision. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I will protect my energy, my time, my life. Say it until you believe it, because this isn't just a motivational moment. This is you taking control. So here's my challenge to you: start small if you need to. But start. Because that single no can be the first step to freedom, to a life that's fully yours. And once you feel that power, you'll never want to let it go. You'll be on a path to owning every decision, every choice. And that's when you start truly living. Remember, this isn't just about saying no. It's about saying yes to yourself. Every single time you draw a line, every time you protect what's yours, you're reinforcing that commitment to live life on your terms. Think of all those people we talked about earlier. Steve Jobs, Rosa Parks, Oprah. They each stood their ground, and because they did, they changed the course of their lives and the lives of so many others. Now, this message, this fire, it's in your hands. If this spoke to you, if you felt that spark to stand strong, don't let it end here. Make the decision to protect your life, your purpose every single day. And if you're ready to go further, to keep building this strength, hit that subscribe button. Join this journey, because we're just getting started. And don't stop there. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes all it takes is one message, one reminder that you're not alone, that you have the power to take control. So, go on, stand firm, hold your ground, and let today be the day you start living life on your own terms.